Okay.
All right, we'll call to order the meeting of the Zoning and Adjustment Board, Tuesday, December 14th, 2021. First item on the agenda is the approval of minutes from October 12th. Does everybody have a minute to look at those? No. All right, so I'll make a motion to approve the minutes.
Second, Joe.
Motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Well, I guess it's just you and I because we're the only two.
It's I and I.
Yeah, I and I. All right, so next item on the agenda is old business. We have none, so we'll move on to new business.
Oh, well, let's we'll give it a chance to introduce Sarah Harris,
Okay.
the new project manager for the city. She comes here from the city of Biloxi. We did much the same thing, so you want to tell them a little bit about yourself and
Sure.
what you're going to do here.
So like I said, my name's Sarah Harris. I was born and raised in Ocean Springs, actually right down the street. I've worked for the city of Biloxi for the past 6 years, but I've done engineering projects for the past 13 years. So I'm pleased to be here as a project manager for Ocean Springs.
Can you tell me like what you'll be doing as far as, I know you said project management, but is that all the civil construction work? What are you doing?
So that is a loaded question. It's not clearly defined yet, but I will be over construction projects once they go through planning and approval.
Implementation,
Mhm.
construction phase, all that stuff.
Mhm.
Awesome. This is really good news.
I keep seeing her more and more at things. So,
Yeah.
yeah, right there.
You obviously have an engineering background.
I have an engineering degree. I have a drafting degree. So, yes.
Welcome.
Thank you.
And you're familiar with the Public Works Department?
Yes.
Or about to be?
Yes. I have a lot of experience working with public works.
Where are you housed as far as in City Hall? Are you with Wade and?
No, I'm in City Hall. I'm actually right on the other side of this wall.
Okay, gotcha. Thank you.
So,
And one of the things we want to see come out of her position here is to make sure that projects are built, at least overall, in the manner in which y'all and the planning commission and the board approve them. To make sure that there's that continuity from plan to actual construction.
Much needed.
Exactly.
Especially with our new
Okay.
set of rules. Right?
Yes, exactly. Okay, let's go ahead.
All right, so we'll move on to new business. First item on the agenda, 3124 Eagle Point Road, parcel ID number 62000020.055, requesting a 5-yard front yard setback.
Did he miss a zero?
No, I messed up on my sheets and I thought it was on y'all's agenda, but it's not.
So ours is correct.
Yes.
All right. All right, so Wade, if you'll introduce the request.
Sure. This is a request for a variance from the front yard setback requirements for this lot. They're asking for the maximum, a 25% variance to allow the house to be 5 feet closer to the front yard to the property line than it would otherwise be. So it's like a 20-foot rather than a 25-foot front yard setback. Their reasoning for this is, you can see the small air photo on the page 2, and then the larger one further into the back of the report on page 3 of the attachments. He's identified a number of protected trees, sycamore or live oak, on the property. 3 in particular that if he has to have the building at the 25-foot setback line, particularly those 3 protected trees would be possibly have to be removed, very likely have to be removed for the construction of the house. Others also might be impacted by the root system and so forth for it. So in order to maintain, be able to retain those, he's requesting the 5-foot setback variance to bring the house closer to the street. And I think staff is recommending approval of it. That's is the type of situation that for which a variance is warranted. And I'd be glad to answer any questions or.
And I'm the property owner.
Okay.
I apologize. I just got out of an interview and trying to hire a football coach at St. Martin, and I can answer any questions y'all may have
That
as well.
shouldn't
I
have taken you
apologize.
any time. You should have just.
I've been at it since 7:30 this morning, so if I don't get this one right, I won't have a job. I tell you, you got a few hours still, but
I'll pass on the St. Martin. but
yes,
no.
ma'am.
So Wade just kind of introduced the request. I don't know how much of it you heard. I think you heard most or all. If
Sure.
there's anything you would like to add,
Well,
please come up.
And you know, I
Name and
grew I
address.
grew up in this
Okay.
area. My father's actually served on the board the role that y'all are in. My mom was a science teacher for a long time here, so I've been raised to try to keep the environment as least impacted as possible. And with the way this property is set up, this is about the only way that I can do it and still not cut down these big, nice live oak trees and impact this marsh area, because you can't see, but it's a natural drain that comes back through there, and we're trying to keep from encroaching as well back into that area, you know. Because my mom, I can tell you right now, she's waiting up there at heaven watching me to make sure that I'm trying to do things the right way, as I'd like to call the Ocean Springs way. It is going to be a little bit closer to the street, but you can't tell from there. But from the street view, you won't even hardly be able to see the house because of the live oaks that are offset either side of the house. The house was designed to fit into the space, actually. So you really won't even see the house until you get right up on it when you're coming down the street. So I hope that helps paint a picture a little bit for y'all.
Yeah, and one thing I noticed looking at the overall view that you provided, you could say, hey, could you move it to the north and slide it back 5 more feet? No. Can you move it to the south and slide it back 5 more feet to get their front yard setback? No. There's trees all around.
Yeah. And truth be told,
Yeah,
if I was
it's-
trying to build for the view,
Mhm.
I'd have made a permit application to knock down 5 or 6 of these big giant oak trees.
Mhm.
That's not what I'm about. We don't want a big massive yard. We want to try to keep it as natural as possible. It's set back in the park. It's a very beautiful natural area, and we want to try to keep it that way.
All right, thank you. Somebody else have anything to add? Questions? Okay.
I did drive by the property today, and unfortunately I left my phone in the car, but I took a few pictures, and I guess I was having a hard time. It seems like this is really surrounding these 3 trees off the, would it be southeast corner?
There's a number of them back in there.
There's 3 in particular that sit right before the bump out,
That's correct.
and I couldn't find them on the property.
Because one of them had to come down. There was just no way around it. So that one came down. There's 2 other smaller ones.
I
that are-
saw like one smaller,
Yeah.
part of the small one.
Yep, and there is another one back in there. But you could also see from the footprint, both to the true south and the true north,
Uh-huh.
those trees, there was just no way around it.
And you're bringing in, looks like a good bit of fill, because it's right there on the,
We are. So what we're going to
The
do
marsh.
is we're bringing in some. We mucked out. We got down to good sandy soil, thank the Lord, so we're not having to drive pilings or anything. So once we are finished with a good platform, we're going to come in and do a chain wall. And then from there, we will come back and re-landscape out, because you can see where that orange and stuff is. Once the chain wall's up, we will come back, remove that dirt out, so we've got a natural drainage back through there.
because I see just some of the comments from Public Works. They seem to very strongly stress about obstructing drainage and water flow. I guess
That's right.
given the nature of the property,
That's correct.
it's very low to begin with, and it seems like it's a natural runoff spot
That's
for that
correct.
area. And I know that there's sort of a swale along the front of the property that faces the road,
Yes.
and that's another note that they've made about.
Well, we'll have to have a culvert there.
You will put in a
Oh, we're going to have to. I was talking to my builder yesterday about it. There's no way around it. Because again, having that natural drain there, if I don't do it and do it right, it's going to impact my
Correct.
residents in the long run.
Correct.
Not to mention it's not good for the environment, so I want both. So if we are going to have the natural drain from the back of the house there so the water can get by when we have heavy rains come through. And then also on the front side, we're not far from the top of the hill, but we're not there. So we are going to have to allow for a culvert to go in there so the water can pass. Yep, you're exactly right.
All right.
Well, just a quick comment. So what was on the site previous to your building on it? I'm not about to build on it, I should say.
Nothing. Well,
It's been on the lot for quite a while.
yeah, I guess it was my great-grandfather. They had an old fence back in there and had goats, but we're talking back in the 40s and 50s, before it was even a state park and a national park back in there. We've been there a long time, our family has.
We had goats on Washington in the 70s, so it hadn't been that long ago. Goats were.
Yeah, because when the builder was out there, he saw this old tie post and was like, "What is this post from?" And I explained to him, that I can remember when I was a kid, they had a fence that went through the whole back of the point back there to keep the goats from going out into the marsh. And then that didn't slow them down, so they tried to electrify the top of it. It didn't work either. Goats always found a way out, so they gave up on that idea, truth be told. So.
All right, if no one has any other questions or comments, someone like to make a motion.
Well, I just wanted to point out, because I need to,
Sure.
I did not see those 3 trees being such an issue as maybe they were at one time, other than we need to watch the water flow. And I want to just point out, I'm glad you're trying to work around the trees, but we got a small area here, and that I just want to bring that to somebody's attention, that
And that's part of the reason why I've asked for that 5 foot. If we had to push it back another 5, it's almost absolutely going to obstruct the natural water flow. But with that 5 feet, that's going to give us enough from the end of the chain wall. I'm not going to have a backyard back there. It's going to be the natural flow that's going to come back out into the marsh back there during rains. As my wife likes to call it, it's Fern Valley. When the ferns and everything grow back out through there. It's not going to be a yard.
Yeah.
I can make
Take a
one.
stab or-
Go ahead.
All right. I'd like to make a motion for approval of the request for a front yard setback variance at 3124 Eagle Point Drive from 25 feet to 20 feet, allowing a 5-foot encroachment on the west side of the property.
Correct.
All right, motion, do we have a second?
Second, yes.
Motion and a second, all those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. All right, no opposed, motion passes.
Thank y'all. I look
So
forward to coming home.
this will be on the Board of Aldermen on Tuesday for consent agenda.
Thank y'all.
Mhm. All
Y'all
right,
have a good evening.
all right, thank you, you too.
Yes, sir. Thank y'all.
All right, next item on the agenda is audience request, and our only member has vacated the building, so no audience request. So we'll motion to adjourn the meeting.
So made, John.
Motion and second.
Okay.
All right, motion and a second, all those aye. Aye, aye, aye. All right, meeting adjourned.